Okay, and good afternoon. I'm Rich Wurzbach. I'm with MRG Labs, and I'm a member of the CS96 subcommittee for integrated testers. And I've been asked to provide a roast to Bryan Johnson for his award today. And I've known Bryan a long time. I've been active with him in a number of different capacities. And so I think I might be in a position to provide a little insight and a little background in some of the adventures that we've had over the years. It's been kind of a long career in that way, but it's been fun. And so let me just share a few things with you here. I will share this little presentation that I put together so we can talk about Bryan. So Bryan's a big man from the desert. I met Bryan many years ago when we both were getting started. Bryan went to college, got his degree. Somewhere along the line, he claims that it's a tribology degree. I've never really seen evidence of that. I don't even know if there's any colleges that give out a tribology degree. It could have been something that he just said to impress other people, maybe to get girls. I don't know. But he claimed he had some sort of tribology degree, and I felt quite small next to him, both physically and the fact that I didn't have a tribology degree. I was a lowly chemist, but he got to, with this tribology degree, supposedly got to see the sunrise over the Palo Verde nuclear power plant every day as he went off to work. To put this knowledge into practice. And he had some humble beginnings. This was the oldest picture I could find. I couldn't find any of him on a tricycle or anything like that, but he looks a little bit younger here. Maybe when he was just getting started there at the power plant. But that's when I met Bryan, when we started to go to the Electric Power Research Institute user group meetings. Sharing ideas about oil analysis, and folks would be talking about vibration and infrared and so forth. And then over the years, we got to meet up at a Can-Do owners group meeting, even though neither of us worked for Can-Do owners. We were there just to, I guess, tell them what they were doing wrong or something. I don't know. And then we got together at some STLE meetings, the Society of Tribologists and Lubrication Engineers. It seemed like most of the meetings and events and conferences I was going to, he was going to as well, including the NORIA conferences, and then ultimately him convincing me I needed to come out to this thing called ASTM and get involved. And so along the way, one time I opened up a magazine, and there he was, the monthly centerfold in Oil Analysis magazine, as they talked about him and some of his colleagues at Palo Verde developing some world-class oil analysis programs. And, I was pretty excited to open the magazine and see him there. And we got together at the users group meetings where they talked about all these different technologies and shared ideas. And this was actually a really great way to find out that, hey, somebody else is doing some of the same things I am. And he was a great kind of a mentor and a sounding board, and someone just to share ideas with as we came along. And with the EPRI meetings, we got to go to these exotic locations like the Ramada Inn in Eddystone, Pennsylvania, in the shadow of a 4-unit coal burning power plant. And it's just something that every young boy looks forward to. It says, I want to work hard. I want to get my college degree, and then go off and get to visit places like Eddystone, Pennsylvania, on the banks of the Delaware River. Yeah, that's what we all hope for. But eventually he got some recognition from toiling, days and some nights at the nuclear power plant, walking across the lonely turbine deck to check on the main turbine lube oil system. Eventually all that paid off, and his company, through his hard work, got the recognition of one of the first ever awards in the field of lubrication program development, and that was the Augustus Gill Award. for Arizona Public Services Palo Verde Nuclear Generating Station, the very first recipient of that award. And I remember being at that meeting back in 2002, and you can see he is kind of bowing his head for the applause and thrusting the award into the air like he's won the Heisman Trophy or something. And he finally gets this recognition for this hard work of telling folks, yeah, I have this tribology degree. I know what I'm talking about. Let's make this plant run better. Let's implement these oil changes to our oil analysis program and make a big impact here. And the crowd went wild. We took an unexpected detour to Canada for that Can-Do Owners Group meeting. And I remember quite vividly, Bryan and I looked at each other and said, what are we doing here? George Staniewski asked us to come along to his plant, which was right down the road from where the meeting was being held in some nondescript, whatever the Canadian version of the Ramada Inn is, I guess, is where we were staying. And George said, come on to my plant. Let's just take a tour. And it just seemed like we were randomly walking through a Canadian nuclear power plant, unsure of what our exact purpose was there, until we both stopped dead in our tracks when we saw hundreds of shiny stainless steel drums just lined up in a hallway. And George just kept walking down the hallway until he realized we weren't with him anymore. And we just looked at each other and said, something here doesn't look right. And George circled back and asked us what was wrong. And it was just nothing we had ever seen before. And I think it was just because it was a different kind of reactor and they had some different methods, but we maybe had some ideas for him about housekeeping and different things that we would do differently. But it was neat that George asked Bryan and I to kind of take a little side trip, and we got a little tour of his nuclear power plant. But I remember that, and Bryan and I have often talked about walking through this plant and suddenly stopped by the sight of hundreds of shiny stainless steel drums and having no idea what they were for. So it's sometime around this point, Bryan started talking about, this whole concept of having a committee at ASTM to talk about or to address in-service lubricant analysis. And he said, we need this thing, whatever this thing is, we need this. It's different than what we've got at ASTM. And he said, someone will listen to me. They can't ignore me for too long. And after a while, it got sad. It seemed like I know we need this. And I thought, boy, nobody's listening to this poor guy. It's like the kid on the playground and he's off by himself and no one likes his idea. And I thought, I feel sorry for him. I'll join his club. We'll form a clubhouse and we'll have the CS 96 clubhouse, and we'll whatever his idea is. And sure enough, he was exactly right. This was exactly what the industry needed. And eventually it caught on. And now it's one of the most dynamic groups, in my opinion, at ASTM, doing just wonderful things that have been needed for a long time and coming up with some fantastic standards. But for a while there, it seemed like he couldn't get any friends to play. But eventually he turned that around. Now, I think with all that time we spent at at the EPRI conferences, going to glorious locations like Eddystone and other power plants around the country, Bryan, thought that can't be the way we need to do this. And we got involved in ICML. Bryan and I were both asked to join the ICML executive board. And we needed to have a retreat. We needed to have a trip where we could all, as board members, get together, just kind of spend some time together and really think about the direction of that organization. And so I stepped forward and I said, hey, we could hold it in York, Pennsylvania. And I think Bryan thought, oh, goodness gracious, here we go again. Eddystone, York, how bad is this going to get? And then Jim Fitch stepped forward and said, well, we can hold the next one in Tulsa. And I think that's when Bryan stood up and said, look, I've got some other ideas. Let's make this worthwhile. And so and with his leaderships, we started to take some great trips. We went to Sedona, Arizona. We went to Portland, Maine. We got to go to Colorado Springs. And, I got to see things that I never saw before in Portland, Maine. And we got to take a tour and go to the Portland, see the lighthouses and ride on a boat and so forth. And I'm like, wow, this is great. And then later I realized that he pushed for Portland, Maine, I think because his daughter lived nearby. So he got to take a trip home, which was pretty smart on his part. And then these trips, he would mention just subtly in conversation, did you hear I'm studying at Harvard? Sometimes the conversation would have nothing to do with where we were studying or whatever. And it seemed like you'd be in the middle of a sentence and he would say, yes, I'm going to Harvard. Or did you see the shirt I'm wearing? It says Harvard on it. And eventually we came to understand that Bryan was indeed studying at Harvard. We went to other locations, like we went to Colorado Springs and saw amazing sights and interesting things that we had never seen before. And then eventually Bryan became a Harvard graduate. And it wasn't just, as it turns out, we could kid him a little bit, but it turns out he was undertaking serious things like sustainability and things that impact our world and our planet. And, and I found some of these things that people have shared and talked about the work that he did there. And do we mention that he's a Harvard grad? Yes, he is. He graduated from Harvard. And so we've got that to keep in mind. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to, number one, congratulate my friend Bryan. We've worked together probably almost 30 years between our work in the nuclear power industry, working on committees at the Electric Power Research Institute, getting involved at ASTM, going to STLE conferences, going to NORIA conferences, and up till the present day, where we're here at this meeting today, and our involvement, my involvement with him in ICML. It's been wonderful. I'm glad that I've been able to learn from him and share ideas about how to make this industry better, how to impact people who are in this world of lubricant analysis. And I'm proud to call him my friend. Congratulations, Bryan, and enjoy your award. Enjoy your week. And we'll see you again soon.